I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, click the Amazon banner at the top of the homepage on FascinationStreetPod.com and do all of your shopping through Amazon. Once you click on it and it takes you to Amazon, you can bookmark it or add it to your favorites and you won't have to go to my site each time. It helps me keep the show going, and again, thanks for listening. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with actress Anna Jaller. Anna is an actress who you know from the Entourage movie and the television show Speechless, and if you're in Japan, you know her from the Lux Japan commercials. In this episode, we talk about going to the same high school as Edward Norton and growing up in the community that his grandfather created. We also talk about what got her into acting, her time in New York versus her time in Los Angeles. Of course, we talk about the Entourage movie and Speechless, and we have a lot of fun talking about a few things from Japan and all of the crazy that is Mercury Retrograde. So enjoy, folks. This is my conversation with actress Anna Jaller.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Anna Jaller. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Oh, awesome.
Anna, where were you born? Where were you raised?
Well. I was born and raised in Columbia, Maryland. It's about 20 minutes outside of Baltimore. A little suburb. Let's see, fun fact. I feel like our claim to fame is that Edward Norton graduated from my high school.
Really?
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's kind of fun, right? Actually, his granddad planned our community. He created Columbia, Maryland.
Get out of here.
No, isn't that kind of cool?
That's not kind of cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's pretty, I don't know. It's so that's pretty neat. Yeah, and it was just this cool little suburb. It was actually really cool. So Edward Norton's grandfather's name is James Rouse. And when I was younger growing up and stuff, I'd do all of my plays in the James Rouse Theater, the Edward Norton Grandfather Theater. So that's kind of cool. And it was really cool. He, I guess, planned it in the 1960s, 1970s. And it was kind of this cool hippy dippy town where he really wanted to create this place where there was, it's this idealistic little bubble where there was no racial or religious or class separation. Everybody was, was trying to integrate everybody. And it was cool. I feel I didn't realize until I lived outside of it that it was kind of just this fun little hippie bubble of a town to grow up in.
That's really, really cool. Were there any stories from the high school? Does anybody oh, I remember that guy. He was terrible. Was there anything like that? Any rumors about Edward?
I feel like there were no rumors. I feel like everybody just took a lot of pride in being able to be I was in a play once, many, many moons ago. But it was everybody kind of had that story where I was were you actually in a play with him? Yes or no? Gotcha. But no, there were no I don't know. I don't think that guy has any skeletons in his closet. Everybody just loves him. It's hometown hero.
Oh, very cool. So
yeah.
So then, where did you go to college, or did you go to college?
I did go to college. Yeah. So I went to Muhlenberg College. We were the Mules. A very cool mascot.
Very original.
Right. But yeah, I went to this small little liberal arts school in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And it was amazing. I don't know. I really loved it. I kind of knew that I wanted to go to a smaller school, and I thought that I wanted to study theater because I knew I always loved that growing up. But my parents are both in the medical field. My dad's a physician and my mom's an occupational therapist. And so they were cool. You can study theater, but study something, real as well. So I wanted to make sure I got that liberal arts education, and so I double majored, but I was able to pursue theater there as well as media and communications, which I've done absolutely zero with. But, that's okay. Got the degree so the parents are happy,
Very cool. So what is it that your parents wanted you to be?
My dad was like, for some reason, he had aspirations. He was like, oh, I could see you being a lawyer, which of course now I'm just like, hopefully I'll play one on TV, Dad. You'll get your wish. I don't know. And I have two siblings, my older sister and older brother. I'm like the baby of the family. And, he was like, Daniel, my brother will be a doctor and your sister will be a teacher. My sister is not a teacher, but my brother is a doctor. So I was like, Dad, you got 1 out of 3. That's pretty good, Like, not too bad.
And if you end up playing a lawyer, he got like 1.5 out of 3.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, my parents they're characters. I love them dearly. My dad is like this really gregarious, wacky, larger-than-life Jewish man, and my mom is like the sweetest angel and really like this really small German woman. So it's like this fun little combo, like a little German Jew household. Sorry, I'm just giggling thinking about them because I love them so much, and the fact that they ended up with a daughter who's acting in Los Angeles probably blows both of their minds.
That's cute. I interviewed a woman a couple of weeks ago who is also of Jewish descent, and something you said sparked me. I was going to ask you, I've never asked anybody if they're Jewish, but I was going to ask you only because of what your parents sort of had planned for the 3 of you. And that the girl that I interviewed a couple of weeks ago, she said that there's like an old joke that everybody tells, I guess, that Jewish parents tell their kids, you can be anything you want to be. You can be any kind of doctor. You could be a dentist. You could be, or any kind of lawyer. So I thought that was really funny.
I love that. Yep. No, that tracks. That resonates.
That's awesome. So,
but they're very supportive. Very.
So when did you decide? Well, obviously they are. That seems to be a through line for a bunch of the young adults that I've been talking to lately. So when did you decide to get into show business?
I mentioned that I'd done plays and stuff like that growing up. Always at theater camp. Always knew I loved it, but didn't know, especially just being in like this small little suburb in Maryland. Didn't know that it could really be a career. I knew that it was always the thing I loved to do more than anything, and that I was like, oh, this is the thing that like lights me up inside, and when I'm doing it, I feel like I'm like standing in the light, like I feel like I'm on my path, or as much as whatever, however you want to call it. But it always felt like that thing, and I was like, wow, there's like nothing more fun than this. And after graduating from college, I was kind of like, I'd done a showcase with my college in New York, and I had managed to like get an agent, and was like, man, like I gotta try the thing, or else I'm always gonna wonder what if, right? And I've just kept trying the thing, I've just kept on keeping on because it's the most fun, and I've just kind of stuck with it ever since graduating.
And so that being said, what did your parents say when you told them? Wait, have you told them? I'm not breaking this story, am I? Do they know you're an actress?
No, yes, they are well aware. I mean, they honestly were really supportive, and I think they really did trust me and knew that I had a good head on my shoulders. They knew that I would always be able to kind of figure out in the meantime how to financially support myself so that I could keep pursuing my dream, and was also fortunate enough to have enough successes here and there along the way that I feel like, we're encouraging to them as well, to be able to see like, okay, she's really got a shot at this, as much as anybody does.
Very cool. That's really important to have your folks in your corner like that. That's awesome.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And oh my gosh, remember the opening night of one of my plays was at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night, because you're at this like tiny college and you're like, yeah, that's a good time for opening night of a play. Why not? And my dad like had patients the next morning, but like drove up from Maryland, like flowers in hand, made it to opening night. Like, I mean, the level of support was just through the roof. So kind.
That's really, really sweet. Did you ever get a chance? Did you ever get a chance to do any acting in Ed Norton's grandfather's theater?
I did. Yeah. Well, that was actually the high school I went to was Wild Lake High School, and James Rouse Theater. That's where all of my plays were. I feel like it was honestly kind of like a turning moment when I was in high school that made me think that I wanted to keep studying theater in college. Was that I was Helena in Midsummer Night's Dream. at the James Rose Theater, the Edward Norton Grandpa Theater. And yeah, I don't know, it was a really beautiful theater, and it was just such a cool experience. I feel like it was one of the first times that I really felt like I had this incredible teacher, Sally Livingston, and she just really, I felt like believed in me and was like, you can do this, you know? And I don't know, it's amazing looking back and just thinking about how these teachers can just have such a profound effect on you. And all it takes is for one of them to see you and to give you that extra positive encouragement. And, you know, I don't think I'd be where I am if she hadn't just been like, yep, you can do this. I believe in you. You know, it's that's all it takes. But as a kid, you don't hear that enough. Yeah. I get emotional thinking because she passed a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. Way before her time. And she really made a difference in so many kids' lives.
I was going to ask if you had a chance to go back and see her, but when she passed, did she know that you had pursued your dream?
Yeah, she did. And it's really cool actually from my high school. There's a whole crew of us that are still pursuing it. And I have a couple of friends who are on Broadway and booking pilots, and everybody there's a whole group of us that are still doing it, still sticking with it. And so she did know that. Yeah. And
y'all are all still friends?
We are, yeah. It's really cool. We all still keep in touch and still cheer each other on. It's it feels like one big family, one Wild Lake family. And it's really cool. One of my best friends from, when I was 13 is out here as well. And so now we've been pursuing it out here together for a couple of years in Los Angeles. And it's just the most fun thing in the world to be alongside somebody that I was Patty Simcox and she was Sandy in Grease. And now we just produced a feature together, and we're still working together constantly. So yeah, it's really cool.
That is very cool. So when the time came and you had to make a decision, that decision was New York or LA. What made you choose LA?
Well, I firstly chose New York. That was the initial choice. So I lived in New York for a couple of years.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, so that was a move at the time because I was okay. Again, I had that showcase out of college, and the showcase was in New York. So I was okay. And it was, an easier transition knowing that, okay, I'm still based on the East Coast. I still know that I have family close enough by, and I have the support system of friends and loved ones. So yeah, I knew I wanted to start in New York, and I'm really, really happy that I did that. I mean, New York is just such an incredibly fun place to live, and I also did some additional training. I studied with a really amazing acting teacher there, Anthony Abison. He's incredible, and oh man, I'm I miss New York because I miss just being in the hustle and bustle of it all, and I miss the people watching. Just walking outside of your apartment and being thrown into it all. Yeah, it was just such a fun place to be as a young artist.
You missed 300 people crossing the street at the same time?
Okay, that's fair. I know. Well, now after being in LA, I'm I could easily go back to visit, and I love visiting, but now I'm I don't know if I could go back to living there. Although I did have some good times in my 6th floor walk-up. It was rent controlled, which was amazing. I was oh man, on the Upper West Side. I was this is going to be really hard to leave.
So how long were you in New York?
I was in New York for 3.5 years. Oh man, I'm being hit with the flashbacks of the mice in our apartment, the cockroaches.
Oh, that sounds charming. No wonder you miss it.
Yeah, it was very charming. Oh my gosh, one time we had a party, and I just remember all of my friends were sitting on the floor, and I see a cockroach just scatters across, and I was just trying to so stealthily just cover up, and somehow got me to cover it up so nobody would see. Just really, it was really luxurious. Really beautiful.
So it may have been crowded and you may have had mice and roaches, but at least you got to walk up 6 flights of stairs to get there.
Right. With groceries, air conditioning unit, just a lot. Oh man, I moved myself into that when I first got to New York. I was subletting around at a bunch of different places, and I moved myself from this West Village sublet, and I just had garbage bags, and I just remember throwing the garbage bags full of all of my stuff up the 6 flights of stairs.
That is hilarious.
Just like heave ho, up, just up and up we went. So yeah, that it was so fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world, and it was really cool. I got to do some fun indie films. I did some like off Broadway plays that were really bad, but fun and experience. And I did some commercials there too. My first job out of college, I think, in New York, where because I did these like wacky Japanese hair commercials. That was an adventure as well.
Wait, you mean like for Japan? Like commercials for Japan?
Yes, commercials for Japan. Yes.
I want to see a wacky Japanese hair commercial. I want to see that.
I will send them to you. Oh my gosh,
I think I
put them, because I had put them in like an Instagram story. I was like, I think I now have them like on my page, so I will send them to you. But yeah, I mean, that was such a wild experience. So they were for this company Lux, which I guess is pretty big over there. I think it's like I didn't realize at the time. I was just like, I don't know what this company is. I'm not sure. But then I was Googling and I was like, oh my gosh, like Natalie Portman has done a commercial for this company. Like they must be something, but obviously nobody here knew the name. But I think that they're like the Pantene Pro V of Japan.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of cool. I don't know. I had just graduated. I went to one audition. They told me I got the thing. I like got to get this, like they paid for some cool like hair treatment. When I showed up on set, I was like, I mean, I had been doing plays in like dinky black box theaters, and then all of a sudden I had this like glam squad. So I was like, this is great. Oh man, it was just like really, it ended up being a lot harder than I expected. So in one of them, I'm like popping this bottle of champagne, and they had to get like the arc of the champagne bottle perfect, like a perfect champagne bottle, and we must have like gone through like 40 bottles of champagne. I felt so bad. There were like all these extras. They were like getting doused with champagne like the whole time. Meanwhile, there's somebody there who's like in charge of my hair, who's coming up and is like cutting the flyaways like on my head. Like it's like going up and like snip, snip, snip in between takes. So that was kind of crazy. It was a lot of things. And they flew in the director from Japan, and I would just hear him like call cut, and then he would talk in Japanese for like 5 minutes. And he seemed like he was upset or like he needed different direction from me. So I was like, oh no, like bracing myself. But the AD was translating, and every time he would just come over to me, and his only note was "mile bigger."
That's hilarious.
So I have this like huge grin on my it's like a painful smile on my face, and I'm spraying the champagne, and I'm in these like ridiculous. I don't wear heels that often. I'm like not like a heels gal really, but like have these like huge stilettos on. I just remember like climbing up the 6 flights of my walk up. Like I was like covered in glitter and champagne, and it was 3 a.m, and I was like, man, this acting thing's gonna be pretty weird. My first job, I was like, okay. I was like, this is gonna be a fun trip, but it's not gonna be boring. What I feel like I always come back to is I'm like, it's not boring. Every day is different, and I love that so much. You never know what people you're gonna meet or what weird things somebody's gonna pay you to do.
Without going into too many details, did you get paid decently for that shoot?
Oh man, I did. It was like at that point I was like, wow, first of all, like people are paying me. That's really cool. But it felt like it was a lot. But yeah, considering how much they probably ran it, because it was non-union, so I wasn't getting residuals. So I feel like I could have made a lot more money off of it. But at the time, I was just, so excited and felt like I was fairly paid. But if it had been SAG, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'd have my own island by now. I don't know. I think they play those commercials a lot over there.
How do you know? Are you just guessing?
Oh, that they played it a lot?
Yeah.
I feel like I remember around that time hearing from like random people here and there that they had seen my commercial, either if they had visited or I think somehow like my brother's professor in medical school had seen it. Like I was hearing from enough random people that it was getting played that I felt like it must be getting played a lot. So I don't know. Who knows if I'll ever know. I don't know. At one point I was big in Japan. I probably should have capitalized on that at the time more, but hey.
Well, there's still time. I'm sure that they still have commercials and they still have TV shows and stuff over there.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Some of their TV shows are amazing. I'm like, get me on one of those game shows.
But some of their game shows are straight insane.
I'm trying to think. Have you seen the one that's like food or not food?
Is that the one where they had like blindfolded and they just put random stuff in their mouth?
I don't know if they're blindfolded or if they just like have their eyes closed. Or wait, no. Okay, it's called I don't know if this still exists. Candy or not candy. Like,
That's
like
terrible.
there's like a guy. They'll put like a shoe in your mouth, but sometimes it's a candy shoe, and it's like they'll have you like bite a table, but then sometimes it like you bite off and it's chocolate, and you're like, this is delightful. But
That
other
is
times you're just
so
biting into a table.
Weird. That's
I don't know.
really
Sorry,
funny.
somebody showed me that once, and I was like, this is awesome. And yeah, here we are. Anyways, it's worth on Google later, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. It's pretty weird.
Absolutely. So what made you move across the country from New York to LA? You loved New York so much.
Yeah, I did. I had another one of those moments where I was like, okay, I feel like I have such a great foundation here. I like love my life here. And I knew if I was going to move, I was like, I don't want to move out of like in a really down or unhappy place. And I'm moving because Los Angeles or some location or something outside of myself is going to make me happy or is going to be the thing that changes everything for me, you know? And so I don't know. I just felt like, okay, I really want to be I love comedy. I wanted to have more opportunities in TV. I knew I was interested in sitcoms, and I was like, I feel like all of the sitcoms, you know, there's some procedurals and there's a lot of stuff that's happening in New York, but there's not many studio sitcoms happening. And yeah, I just felt like if I really wanted to give it a real shot, you know, it was like, I don't know, it feels similar to the moment after I graduated being like, okay, I got to give this thing really like a shot. And then I was like, okay, I've reached here. And I think Anthony, my acting teacher, was like, okay, he was like, you can keep like circling the base of a mountain or you can start to climb up it. And I was like, I feel like this is my climbing up it moment and I need to go out to LA and try it. And because if not, I'm always going to wonder what if.
Of course.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I got to give it a shot and see how it goes. And, you know, knowing like, hey, I have this place and all these people that I love that I can come back to. So why not, you know, give it a shot? But yeah, so that kind of just prompted me to make the move. And I thought, I was like, oh, I'll just be gone for 3 months. And then I came back and was like, you know, and it was like, I've signed a year lease. I guess I'm going to be here for a while.
So how long have you been in LA?
I guess 4-ish years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah. So I know it goes by quickly. It goes by quickly too because there's no seasons here, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you're in Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm in San Antonio, but I've been to LA a few times, and there are no seasons there.
There are no seasons, and it's confusing when you're trying to like pinpoint something. You're like, wait, when was that? And you're like, oh, we were all hanging out by the pool, and then you're like, oh, wait, that was in February. Like, it doesn't make sense, you know. The East Coast are like pool equals summer.
That's correct.
So yeah, it goes by quickly, but it's been such a fun ride and adventure out here, and I feel very much like I'm like, yeah, this is definitely where it's at, where the opportunities are, and I'm so happy to have made the move. You know, lots of ups and downs along the way, but like I feel like LA is for sure the place to be.
Very cool. Are you taking or have you taken any improv classes?
I have. Yeah. So I did when I was in New York. I did UCB. And when I came out here, it was like my first week in LA, and I was like, I need to finish UCB. So I did. I took 401, so I was like completed UCB and like a UCB grad. And then I also have taken some classes with groundlings out here as well, which were also super fun. And I love improv, and like I was doing some, you know, like smaller teams here and there. And then I was a part of a sketch group that did live performances for a while. And right now I'm taking like a little bit of a hiatus from the sketch stuff, and I'm just focusing more on acting, schmacting in terms of like classes and, you know, where I'm spending my time. But I love that community, and I've met so many awesome people in it, and I love doing it in New York too. I love to go see the shows.
Did you say schmacting?
Oh, I did say schmacting, yeah.
Nice. So
I don't, you know, acting schmack. I don't know. Sometimes when I like talk about acting too much, and I'm like, I feel like sound like I'm taking myself too seriously.
Well, that makes sense. What was the biggest thing that you did to promote your career in New York, to further your career?
To further my career. Do you mean like what was the biggest in terms of like a job, or the biggest thing that I did just personally?
I'll take both answers.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know, I guess I felt I was always really important to stay in class. So, right, going back to the improv class and then going back to studying with Anthony. I kind of knew, and I also firmly believe that it's just so important to surround yourself with good people and to surround yourself with people who are also like trying to kind of find your tribe of fellow people who are also trying to like come up. So the goal being that like we all rise together, So yeah, I don't know. I think it was just really important for me to meet and mesh with those like-minded people, because so many of the jobs that I've gotten and that I've worked on in New York and in LA haven't been through my reps. They've been through my own personal connections. They've been through meeting fellow filmmakers. They've been through, meeting people in class who recommend you for that one thing. And it's honestly almost always through some sort of personal connection from somebody who knows your work, from either doing that like one weird play or being in a class or something, So I think just continuing to like nurture those personal relationships and meet people who are actually doing stuff and not just talking about doing stuff, but then never actually doing stuff. I think that helped me a lot in New York to propel me forward.
I think there's a lot of those people who do more talking than doing, or even more planning than doing. Yeah. There's a lot of those people.
Yeah. It's true.
So,
it is true.
What was the first thing that you got paid to do in your career when you got to LA? And I don't mean, you sold shoes or you waited on tables or you were a bartender or whatever. But I mean, like in your career, what was the first thing that you did that you got paid for in LA?
Well, the first thing that I got paid for was this role in the Entourage movie, which was very surreal at the time and is still now kind of funny looking back, because of all of the jobs to get when you first move to Los Angeles, it's like the epitome of the most LA type of, the most Hollywoody thing that you could be a part of. But it was really super fun. And I played Dana's assistant. So I just had a couple lines, but it was a blast. It was 2 days on set of this big movie. And it was a surreal moment of like, whoa, you moved to LA and then you're on the Warner Brothers lot and you're in the Entourage movie. I was like quickly, brought down to reality shortly after that. I'm like, okay, it's ups and downs, and but it was a really cool, dreamy start. And that was just a couple months after I moved to LA.
And so what was it like to work with the great Constance Zimmer?
Oh my gosh, you know what? I actually did. We were actually not on set at the same time.
You're kidding me.
No, we were not, which was so sad, but what was really awesome is that, a couple months ago, I went to the premiere of House of Cards and I saw her there, and she was so lovely and like really, because I'm just such a big fan of her work. She's incredible. And so I just, I was like, I have to just introduce myself and let her know that I was like, we worked on the thing, but I never got to meet you then. And she was so cool and gracious and lovely and like really took the time to chat, which is just so nice because it's her night and her show, and I was just like there as a guest, and I just thought how cool that she like really took the time to connect with me.
That's really cool. She seems like the sweetest person.
Yeah, she's so nice. So it was like a fun full circle moment of like, like that, to be able to see her. That was really cool. And
Absolutely.
But yeah, I worked with Jeremy Piven and Kid Cudi, Scott Mescudi, and Haley Joel Osment was there that day. Yeah, and they were all so nice. And again, it was such a fun experience and felt like I was just so happy. I was just grinning from ear to ear. I'm like, this is what I came here to do. And it was so fun to be a part of.
Now, it's been a while since I saw that movie. I did see it in the theater. I was very excited. Mm-hmm. But did Jeremy throw anything at you or yell at you?
Yes. I know. I was like, oh my gosh, how cool that I get to like have an Ari Gold freak out. I was like, this is fantastic. But yes, he throws a phone at me. Which sounds ridiculous now that I'm saying it, but there was
sounds like him.
A phone throw. And it was funny because I was like typing at my desk and I had this like a can of Diet Coke next to me, and on the very first take that we went, I was like, oh, I want to be in the moment, but it like came flying at me or something, and the can of Diet Coke just flies up in the air and gets all over me like I'm drenched. And we just kept playing it through. Obviously, it was not supposed to happen, but I was like, all right, we just got to keep playing it through. Anyways, they did not end up using that one because I think they thought even for him, that was like would have been a little too cruel to like drench the assistant. But I still was like, yeah, like, all right, cool, I got drenched. Like, I thought it was really fun.
That's hilarious. So did they have to clean you up and reset?
Yeah. Yeah. They like did some cleaning up and it was, yeah, they just a little tidy up and reset. No problem.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Now, to prepare, like before he, got aggressive and yelled at you, did he pull you aside and say, "Hey, sorry, I'm about to be a complete and total bad guy"? Like, did he have a conversation with you before or after his fit?
Yeah, no, we chatted, so I sort of knew. But I'm trying to remember. I think he said something actually that like actor-wise gave me like a note that really helped to feed me, or maybe he was just like I don't know. He was reminding me of some part of the script. I just remember thinking like, whoa, what a generous actor to be like, hey, this is, to sort of like give me the scoop to like help me raise the stakes of like how important this is and what the magnitude of this is. Again, I was just like, wow, that's really cool for some, just knowing that I was like a day player, like popping in and out for 2 days to like take the time was really nice.
That's very cool.
I feel lucky. Yeah, I feel really lucky.
I can't even imagine how excited I would be if I made that trip and then that giant movie was my first thing. Like you must have been pinching yourself. You probably still are. I
was. It's so true. I know. That's why I'm like looking back. I'm like, oh man, I'm just like, it was so like lucky and surreal. But I was just like, I'm aware of how like lucky that, just being friends with so many actors and like knowing how it's like the long journey of it all. And to have those moments, it's like you really have to celebrate the highs and celebrate those achievements when you have them, because it's like up and down. So when you're on top, you have to really enjoy and celebrate, and I totally was. And again, it was like, kind of nice to be able to tell my dad, to be able to tell the Jewish doctor, to be like, guess what? Like, I'm in a movie. It's a real movie that you can see in the theater. Although I don't know, some of my little cousins apparently saw it, and I was like, oh, sorry guys, maybe you shouldn't have seen that one. There are some parts that might not have been inappropriate for you. But I was like, oh gosh, you really, you saw that? Okay, all right, cool. But yes, so that was very cool. And then of course, just such a fun experience. It was really surreal. So yeah, and it's those moments where you're just like, man, I just gotta keep on keeping on.
Now this is sort of a dumb question, and again, feel free to not answer. Are you in a position to get residuals on that one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Again, how cool is that?
That's very cool.
I still I remember it's like when you get your first residual check and you're like, this is great. So yeah, if you or anybody else wants to just like watch it like 100 times on demand this weekend, that would be cool. That would be cool. I will happily take those 3 cents or whatever it may be.
Hey, streetwalkers. Well, you're not literally streetwalkers, but now that I've got your attention, I am Stephen O'Reilly, and I have a podcast called The Bar Star Podcast. And since you're listening to the Fascination Street podcast, I think you should check out my show. It's just as interesting without all the famous people, because Steve has connections that I just do not have. But if you dig podcasts about music, working musicians, and other random shit that I decided to talk about, based around music, of course, because that's what I do. I'm a working musician for the past 30 years, and you need to check out the Bar Star Podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast, on any platform, and make sure you check out barstarpodcast.com. Now back to the one and only Steve Owens and whatever the hell he was talking about.
Now tell me about My Life Worked Out.
Yeah, so this was a digital series that I acted in and co-produced, and I made it with this crew of some of my best friends who all happen to be really talented in their own rights in like different departments. Like one of my friends is an editor who works on all of these like huge studio fancy movies. The other one is a producer who also works on all these big fancy movies. The other one is my longtime best friend who I mentioned earlier, Sarah, who went to Wild Lake High School with me. And the other one is a friend who I met in New York. I did a web series with New York, and she moved out here also around the same time. And it was just this total badass DP. And it's just kind of like this amazing group of talented, driven women. And we all wanted to come together because, again, they're, have working on bigger studio things or doing whatever. And we're like, hey, we want to create something where we can have total ultimate control over it. It's our story, not somebody else's story that we're executing. And yeah, it it was just so much fun to make. It was this web series about two best friends, kind of like the yin to the yang. I'm like the over-eager, neurotic one, and Sarah's like the blacker stoner one. And I trick her into doing this like workout challenge basically with me. And I force her into going into workout classes all around LA, inspired by Aaron and Lisa, the creators' real life adventures of going to just, the most, I'm sure there are some in Texas too, but I just feel like in LA, there's just every type of workout class under the sun. All the instructors are just like more comedic than the next, and that they take themselves so seriously,
That's funny.
And yeah, there was just like so much fodder there. And it was really, really, really amazing. It's a 5-episode web series. It was on the homepage of Funny or Die, which is really cool, and got a bunch of awards at like a bunch of different web fests. Yeah, it was awesome. It was just so much fun to make, and it's been really cool because I've worked on a bunch of projects with the girls as well since. And there's just something that's so cool about being able to see your friends do their thing and see them shine, and to be able to bring their ideas to life. And I love producing as well as acting so much. And so it was really cool to be able to have a hand in that as well. Sometimes it's really awesome to just be able to be like, okay, great, I'm just going to show up and be this character and bring this thing to life. But I don't know, I like being able to see something through from the beginning to the end, and to have a bit more say in it creatively is also really fulfilling.
Awesome. Now, I've asked you about residuals a lot. So is there even residuals on, things like that, like a web series?
No, I wish. I wonder, I don't know much about everything that I've heard is that it's very hard to monetize web content. Like, I think even for some friends who have like a gajillion YouTube subscribers, it still seems apparently really hard to make money off of it. I don't know. I don't know that much about it, but all I know is I am not getting any residual checks from that. However, still worth checking out.
Absolutely. Plus, I like the web series. They're bite sized. They're not 45-minute episodes. They're pretty small. I love those. Exactly.
Yeah, I did another web series that I really loved too, called Right Hand Man. Was nominated for some awards for that. That was just like really fun. It's like a dramedy, and features this guy who's down on his luck. He's like been broken up with. He lost his job. He moves back in with his mom, and when he moves back in, he discovers this puppet that was like his therapy puppet that helped him through his parents' divorce when he was growing up. And I play like the love interest, but there's the puppet. It's funny. I don't know. It's like heartwarming, and I feel like it made me realize how much I love working on dramedies. I'm like, dramedy is just comedy with heart, Doesn't get better than that.
Nicely said. Tell me about your time on the hit television program Speechless. How'd you get that job? Was it through an audition?
Yeah, it was through auditioning. And so there's an upcoming episode that I'm going to be in, but I realized that sadly I don't think I can talk too much about that. I've had like some friends in the past where they're like, you're not supposed to say X, Y, and Z before it airs. So I won't give any details away about that too much. Other than that, when I know the air date, I will certainly let you know. And I'm really excited about that. And the first time around, it was also auditioning. I played, it was like this hospital scene, and I played a pregnant woman, which is hilarious because I've never given birth before. One of my best friends is, yeah, we have that in common.
Yes.
One of my best friends is an OB-GYN in New York, and she was basically like coaching me. Like ahead of time, I was like, I have this audition, and so I sent her like this clip of just like, I was like, would you believe that I'm in labor? Like, is this real? And she was like playing it for all of the doctors in the delivery room, and they're like, yeah, we're all buying it. So really, I owe that job to her.
Nice.
So that was like really fun, and this other job as well is like so fun that they found a way to bring me back, and it was cool because Minnie Driver was on set, who again just like like Constance, like I was like, I have such a girl talent crush on you and think you're so amazing, and she was so lovely and warm, and they were so fun, and I love that show so much, and I'm like, let's find another way for me to come back. I don't know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Really fun.
I recently found out that Minnie Driver is the voice of Lexus.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you know those commercials where it's just a sultry English voice? It's her.
What? Okay, I'm going to need to rewatch those.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch those. I'll add that to my queue of that and Candy or Not Candy, the Japanese show. I've got a lot of things to watch after this. It's going to be a really good night.
It's funny.
Yeah, but that was so fun. And again, I love working in comedy so much. It's just because it's so fun to be on. If you're thinking about how you're going to spend, your 12-hour day, if you can be spending 12 hours making people laugh or being around people, just being able to see some of those actors improv and listen in or hear different alt lines. It's just so fun.
Absolutely. Now, I think you said earlier that you had worked on a feature. Is it Please Come With Me?
Yeah, it is.
Tell me about that.
Sure. So that was this passion project that I produced along with my friend Sarah, who also wrote it and starred in it. We both act in it as well. And we filmed this project one weekend a month over a course of a year. So we called it our baby boyhood. Because we were like, okay, we want to try to simulate that experience of okay, if we film people, we really take our time with it, being able to see how these actors, how they change and how they grow in real time along with the story. And it's a relationship drama that follows this couple who's gone long distance. So we filmed it in LA, we filmed it in San Francisco, in Chicago, and then back in Columbia, back in Maryland, where we're both from. So it was a trip to try to film a project. I mean, it's so hard to film, a low budget indie movie during any amount of time, but then to be able to maintain a cast and a crew over the course of a year is really something. It takes a lot to get people to commit and to be able to hang in there. But it was so fun. I mean, it was just really cool it kind of felt like we were shooting a short film a month, And I think what was neat was just being able to see the footage and see it progress in real time. And, the director was able to work with the editor to kind of make changes as we go and really see how the story was being shaped as we went. But it was also a huge challenge and undertaking. And when it was done, we were like, thank goodness, we made it a whole year. And now we have a movie. That was really rewarding. It was such a rewarding experience to be able to make it to the finish line of that. And yeah, it played at some festivals. It premiered at the Los Angeles Women's Festival. And we're talking to a few people now about distribution. The previous film that Sarah and the director had worked on, Blue Jays, reached distribution and is available now on demand. So we're hoping that Please Come With Me will be as well. Yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted. But I'm really proud of how it all came out. And yeah, I'm let's do it again, but maybe not over the course of a year. But let's make a feature because it was really cool. It was really cool at the premiere just have a packed house of this big movie theater. And it was, obviously it was really cool when I was in Entourage to be able to see that. But it was just cool knowing that I was wow, this is a movie that I've had a hand in again from start to finish. And to have a bigger acting role and be on the big screen, yeah, it was a good feeling.
Very cool. Did you see Entourage in the theater? Not at a screening. Did you just walk into a theater and go watch it?
I did. Yeah, we went opening night with this whole group of friends, and it was really they're cheering because that's also in LA, that they're oh, somebody was probably in it. It's sometimes that'll happen in a movie theater. Somebody's yeah, when one person has one line or something, and you're oh, that was probably them or their friend.
I've heard stories where people will go see a movie and then, they're and it was so weird because, about 45 minutes into the movie, the person who was sitting in front of me just got up and left. And then the other person talking to them is they were probably in it and their scene passed and then they left.
Right, exactly. Got my scene.
That's very LA. I saw me, now I'm out.
Bye. Yeah, pretty much.
Now, I think I saw all over your social media. Did you get married recently?
I did. Yeah, coming up on, it'll be a year in April, almost your anniversary.
And what is your mister's name?
His name is Mark. He's the best.
How did you guys meet? Is he in the biz?
He's a fellow mule. We met.
Gross.
College, yeah. So we're college sweethearts. I know. It's very wild just because most of my friends have met online. It's the normal thing, I guess. But we're just, I guess, old school. Met in college. We're just little babies, just little baby mules. We've been together ever since. Oh man, he's the best. He's not in the business at all, which I think I mean, to each their own, but for me, it's very helpful to have this grounded outside force who has nothing to do with show business at all, but is so supportive and always in my corner and has seen it all, has seen me from doing the wacky college plays to like the weird black box theaters in New York to calling him. And so we were long distance when I first moved out here. And so, like calling him and he's at a bar with all his friends. And I'm like, I love the Entourage movie. So he's been along for the ride through it all. And I feel very grateful and very appreciative to have. I mean, there's a lot of weirdos out in LA too. I mean, there's a lot of weirdos everywhere, but I don't know. Some of my friends dating horror stories. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel lucky to have not had to go through that out here.
Well, that is fortuitous indeed. I know that you have the speechless episode that you can't talk about. What do you have coming up that you can talk about?
So I just finished actually with the same crew that we did My Life Worked Out with. We did a comedy short that we just filmed in the desert a couple of weeks ago. It's in post-production now, hoping that it will make a splash on the internet similar to My Life Worked Out and be able to get it featured on some sites and, get it out there. And it was really fun to film and also really crazy because I mean, I feel like most people will not feel any sympathy for us California residents, but it's been a really hard winter because there's been actual weather. We've had like rain, and anyways, we went to film this out in the desert, and of course, it's like there was rain, there were crazy sandstorms, there was just a lot of the elements, like 40-mile-per-hour winds, crazy gusts. Anyways, we filmed this in the midst of all of that, and it was a blast, and I can't wait for people to be able to see it. Basically, like the log line of it is that there's 3 social media obsessed girls who attempt to go camping in the desert, but things take a dark turn when their phones go missing and we're forced to survive without them. Dun, dun, dun. And it's called Girls Gone Camping. Yeah. So really it's funny. Like, because, what could be worse for 3 millennials than to have their phones taken away from them?
No kidding.
Yeah. So we just did that. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for Please Come With Me to come out. And just continuing to create, continuing to write and produce and act and do all the things. But I'm really excited for the future. I'm excited about the speechless episode. Keeping on out here with auditions in the midst of pilot season. So, hopefully something great on the horizon. But I'm just always trying to create and make my own stuff to, keep the creative juices flowing.
Well, that sounds awesome. As we're heading out, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Sure. My name, at Anna Jaller. Jaller like baller, but with a J.
And that's everywhere? And here's where my battery died because I'm stupid and extra professional.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. How super unprofessional. Hang on one second. Oh, man. Woo! I can't believe I did that. That's terrible.
Hey, you know what? This is going to be so LA if I say it, but Mercury's in retrograde right now, so technology is like just not your friend. It's not you. It's the universe.
You laugh, but my wife says that to me all the time. She's pretty into the Mercury retrograde stuff, and so like,
oh my gosh,
she'll tell me like 2 weeks in advance, hey, it's coming, and I'm like, shut up. But then when Mercury hit retrograde this time, I have had some sort of electronic calamity every single day.
No. Okay. Your wife and I would be best friends though, because like I joke, but also like I'm really into it and I believe it too. So that makes it makes sense. I'm telling you, it's the same thing. Like literally today I got in my car and I was like, oh, I love my car. I like just got a new car, worked really hard for it, feel really excited about it. And like the second that came out of my mouth, the check engine light popped on. I was like, what? No. Just, there's going to be something. So at least and you can be prepared. I'm like, I got to try to like check my emails like 5 times before I hit send, and I'll still mess something up. But what can you do?
My daughter called me and I think it was the first day of Mercury retrograde. She called me and said, hey, my car won't start. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll come get you. And then my car wouldn't start.
Oh, okay. What's your sign?
Taurus.
You're Taurus. Okay, interesting. I'll have to look into that. I'll do some research and get back to you. I know that as a Gemini, I'm very governed by Mercury, so I know it hits me extra hard.
So I'm actually right on the cusp. Like
real.
my birthday is the 20th of May, and so I think the 21st is Gemini, right?
Yes. Okay, you are cusp. I'm May 23rd, so I feel like I'm also maybe cuspy. Anyways, it's definitely why. It's definitely that Gemini influence. Sorry, Godspeed. I have like a new moon manifestation candle going right now. I'm trying to like do whatever I can.
Did you say a new moon manifestation candle?
I do. I don't even think there's a new moon right now. I think we've got some time. But
yeah, you're trying to manifest one. That is hilarious.
I know. This is the problem with being in LA. Like, if any of my New York friends, you know what I mean? They're like, "What happened to you?" All of a sudden, I have like my rock collection of like crystals. You know what I mean?
I knew you were going to say crystals. I knew you were going to say crystals.
I know. But I just feel like you did. I don't know. You go to one. It's like one meditation class is all, or one yoga thing, or one retreat in Ojai, and all of a sudden, you just start drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't, I embrace it now, but yeah, like New York Anna would be rolling her eyes so hard at me right now.
Well, New York Anna was too busy dodging mice and roaches.
It's so true. New York Anna definitely could have used some of like the candles and the good juju and the incense. Like, it really could have changed things for her. I think she was just too busy just being running on just like pure anxiety and fear.
That's really funny.
Well, I feel like that's also like, it's like appropriate for that moment in life of like right out of college, and you're just like, just running around like a chicken with your head chopped off.
Sure.
Most of the time.
Okay, so let's get back to where you were. Anna,
yes.
Anna, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yes, it's just at, and then my first name, my last name, at Anna Jaller. Oh, and Steve, are you on Twitter? Are you a Twitter person? Should I be using Twitter more? Is that a thing? I mean, I know it's a thing, but do you like it?
Twitter is my favorite of all of the social medias.
It's your favorite?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
So I
need to get on it.
I'm a little bit older than you, and this Instagram thing. I mean, I've been on Instagram for a while, but I still sometimes can't figure stuff out. Like, I don't know how people do stories and how people do all those weird things where they like draw on their pictures and have links and swipe up and all that kinds of stuff. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I take a picture and I write some words and that's it. And,
yes.
And for like the first, probably the first year and a half that I was using Instagram, I would put links to stuff. Links don't work in Instagram, and I didn't know that for a really, really long time.
Yes, this is true. I know why but that's very frustrating, right? Like, why not? You just get the one link.
Yeah,
in your profile.
That's it. And you just have to say link in bio or whatever. It's super frustrating, but I love Twitter.
I don't know. Okay, I do use it for like news, but I feel like I'm just more of like, just like a scroller, just like a bystander, just like, okay, what's the latest? Or to see what people are saying about The Bachelor. It's either hard for news or The Bachelor, one or the other.
That's funny.
But so maybe I should up my Twitter game.
For me, Twitter is a little more conversational because, like on Instagram, you can leave comments and then somebody can reply to your comment and then you can reply to their comment. But with Twitter, you can have like an actual back and forth, almost in real time conversation with folks. And that's why I like it. Plus, I've booked probably 45 or 50 guests just from Twitter.
Wow.
So that's
really cool.
I have a lot of Twitter friends. Well, when I say a lot of Twitter friends, I mean I have a lot of people that I have made friends with, like in real life, that I met on Twitter. That's what I mean.
Oh, that is really cool. That's a cool thing when you're like, okay, I like that. Also, I just like pulled up my Twitter to be like, hey, I still have a Twitter, right? And apparently what's trending right now is that there's like an Instagram blackout.
Yeah.
Because apparently Instagram's not, so I'm like, see, Mercury really is in retrograde. Like, this is a thing. If anybody ever doubts us, we can just point to the Instagram blackout of 2019.
And also Facebook went down earlier today as well for a long time. It might still be down. I don't know. But earlier today, I was trying to to get to your wedding pictures so that I could see about when it was, and I could not get there. Like, it's just like, nope, not happening. Beat it.
Yeah, it's just nothing. Weird. I know. Well, I mean, I think
But
it's
you know
just
what's not
the universe
down?
telling us that we all need to take a break.
You know what's not down?
Twitter.
That's
Twitter's
right.
not down.
Twitter's not. And you haven't posted
Twitter's not
since
down.
like December, like the beginning of December.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh
well
my gosh. I
done.
need
You're
to-
awesome. You need to get on it, girl.
Yay. I know. Well, apparently I can. All right. Twitter it is. You sold me.
All right.
I'll
Now-
get on it.
Nice. Now, Anna, before I let you go, is there anything that we didn't talk about or that I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
You know, I don't know. There's nothing that's coming to my mind. We covered Mercury Retrograde. We covered weird Japanese TV shows, cockroaches in New York. I feel like we really have got a good range here. We really got in there.
You don't want to say anything really, really super derogatory about Edward Norton real quick?
Oh my gosh. I right if I was like, actually, there's this one thing. Let's make headlines. Doesn't he just seem like the nicest guy? He just seems like the nicest guy.
He does, but I have heard some stories that might say otherwise.
Have you?
But
okay.
but
I've got the hometown hero just glaze over my eyes.
yeah, but
I'm
I'm not sure how reliable those stories I heard were. So I mean, unless I see him, be not the nicest guy, I'm just going to keep assuming he is.
There you go. I think that's fair. I think it's a good. We can both assume that.
There's enough assuming of other people's intentions and integrity.
Right.
So
right.
I'm not gonna join that one. All right. Anna Jaller, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me on Fascination Street
Steve.
and let us get to
It
know
was
you a little
lovely
bit
chatting
better.
with you.
And you
For
as
sure.
well.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you so much, Anna. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, this is Steve Owens from Fascination Street Podcast here with a very important message. I'm awesome. I bet you thought I was going to say something else, but nope. What's important here is that I am awesome. I started this show because I truly believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear those stories. In the short time I've been doing this show, I've interviewed actors, directors, writers, inventors, podcasters, musicians, pro athletes, Olympic athletes, actual war heroes, even a Bond girl and a luthier, whatever the hell that is, and of course, regular people. From people who wanted to be stars but never gave it a real try, to big company CEOs and people who got to meet their favorite president. I love getting to meet and speak with people who have a story to tell. I feel like everyone does, and it's my job to get them to tell it. You never know who my next guest will be. An Academy Award-winning actor, a platinum-selling musician, or your own mother-in-law. But one thing is for certain, you will be fascinated by their story. So come take a walk with me down Fascination Street. You can find Fascination Street Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, FascinationStreetPod.com. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.